While Europe was in the Middle Ages, southern Africa was dominated by the Kingdom of Great Zimbabwe. Their kings ruled from a court enclosed by a colossal circular wall, over 25 feet high and 16 feet thick. Little is known about the empire. Even the names of their kings are now forgotten. We do know they owned thousands of head of cattle and provided ivory and gold to Swahili merchants on the east coast, the first link in Africa's trade network with the world. Today, the country of Zimbabwe takes its name from this ancient kingdom. Zimbabwe means Great House of Stone. Until recently, its real history was denied by white people. They were convinced that black Africans could not have created such monumental structures. For hundreds of years, Europeans dreamed of finding a lost white civilization of incredible wealth somewhere in Africa's dark and savage interior. Karl Mauck, a German explorer, had heard tales of ancient stone ruins in unexplored territory north of the Limpopo River. He searched for months before finally stumbling across these magnificent remains.
Tuesday, 5 September 1871. I saw a short distance away an apparently round edifice. It's built without any mortar of hewn granite slabs. The outer wall is about 150 yards in diameter. The local natives call these ruins Zimbabwe.
Mauck was overcome by the splendor and sophistication of these ruins. But believing black Africans too primitive to build such walls, he was convinced they were the work of a lost white tribe.
Finally, I stopped in front of a tower-like structure. It stood quite undamaged. I learned from the local inhabitants that they themselves have only lived here from about 40 years ago, that the region was quite uninhabited before that time. All are absolutely convinced that white people once inhabited the region.
He drew African artifacts in his notebook, but refused to believe that this city was built by blacks. Finally, he found evidence he believed would prove his theories.
I cut some splinters off the crossbeam. A comparison with the wood of my pencil shows that it must be cedar wood, and this must have come from the Lebanon. Furthermore, only the Phoenicians could have brought it there. Solomon used a lot of cedar wood for the building of his palaces, and these ruins are an imitation of Solomon's buildings in Jerusalem. The great woman who built the enclosure could have been none other than the Queen of Sheba.
This place, according to Mauck, was biblical Ophir, the city of gold. The story of the Queen of Sheba is first told in the Bible. Laden with precious gifts of gold and gems, this mythical white queen visits King Solomon in Jerusalem. She is said to be a temptress, with a lustful body beneath her silken robes. She gives the king everything he desires. Karl Mauck concluded the Queen of Sheba must have been the Queen of Great Zimbabwe, and this place, her palace. Mauck's racist theories were quickly seized upon as valuable propaganda by white settlers seeking to expand the British Empire. Any proof that whites had been here in biblical times would help justify their new exploitation of the region. By the middle of 1890, Cecil Rhodes, a wealthy British industrialist, had founded Rhodesia, a country that remained under white rule until 1980, when the black majority renamed it Zimbabwe. Rhodes carved out for himself thousands of miles of land, rich in diamonds and gold, including the ruins of Great Zimbabwe. Claiming it was a Phoenician palace, he oversaw an orgy of looting that robbed these ruins of their most precious artifacts.
One of the great tragedies of Great Zimbabwe is that people were doing intensive excavation work here in the firm conviction that at the bottom of all this debris was the key to the mystery, the Phoenicians, whoever it was who built it. And of course, once they got down to the bottom and the clearance was complete, they had destroyed all the evidence of all the human habitation that actually went with these walls.
This act of historical vandalism still angers Peter Garlick, once an official in charge of the site. So great was the damage that the true history of this place was almost lost forever.